All right, guys, we're about to hang a flat, full length mirror over the sink here. It's not too complicated of a project, but I figured I'd make a quick video doing it. We missed a lot of videos, like putting this stuff in, because we had hired some guys to do most of the work and help us on the other stuff that I needed another hand for. So it was just too complicated to get a camera in there, and I'm sure they wouldn't have appreciated it either. Then later we're going to hang another one here so you could look on that. We're going to take a removable mirror on that. Got to cover this stuff up because when they built this mobile home we live in, they glued this stuff right to the wall, which is just not the brightest thing to do, because eventually it's going to go bad and you got to replace it, and then you got it glued to the wall, so that's no good. So what we're doing is, I'll show you the tools here in a second, but here's the mirror. We're going to be doing a frameless rectangular mirror. It's standing vertical right now, but we're going to lay it horizontal. It's 36 by 60. Came from the Lowe's, and here's this code number if you want to get that off the line. We could not find a beveled edge one of these for under like $300, which is ridiculous. So we're just putting in a polished edge one. That'll be good enough. And here's the tools I'm going to be using. This is the track right here that you lay down. Now I haven't cut it yet, but basically this is going to sit right on top of this right here. And it's going to sit like that. And the mirror goes into this slot where my finger's in right now. And it'll hold the whole bottom of the mirror in one spot, just one long thing. I'm going to have to cut this down to 60 inches. I'll show you that in a second. And I forgot my tape measure. So there's a tape measure involved here too. That'll come up in a second. But basically, the top of the mirror, we're going to hold with these guys. These are mirror clips. We wanted to go with a good-looking, I guess it's kind of polished metal. It's not chrome, but it kind of looks like it. So the screw will be exposed, and it'll kind of come over the edge and hang, as you can see, over the edge and hold the mirror in place. I plan on doing 3 of them. One about an inch in up here, one dead center, and one over there. And I might be able to get away with a regular screw over here, but basically I'm going to go an inch or 2 in so I can get away from the studs, because there's not a stud dead center between these sinks, and I'm kind of anal with my left and rights. So it'll be 1, 2, and 3, and I want it to look equal. So what we're going to use is we're going to use these toggle bolts. If you want to see, a lot of times you don't have a stud that you can screw into with regular screws. So we got these small size toggle bolts. As you can see, they are the, where does it say what they are? Let's see if I can get a focus on that there. There you go, 1/8 inch by 2 inch, which are the smallest ones you can find. But they're small enough that I can punch a hole smaller than this and be able to stick the toggle bolt hole through. And then once that's on, the hole will get covered up by the metal almost perfectly. So in order to cut this, I'm going to do it with a hacksaw. I've got 2. I got a regular hacksaw here, and then I've got this little extra thing just in case. Handy. I pulled it out. I probably won't need it. I got a screw gun for zipping in those toggle bolts. It'll be a lot quicker to do it with that. For getting this mounted to the wall, this guy here, you've got a big hole on the end, and then they're all small holes. And so the little ones will have to go in the small holes, but it doesn't matter where these are because they get covered up with the mirror. So I'm just going to find a stud, drive one of these guys in. It won't go in a long ways, and hopefully these I can hopefully line at least this one over here. Might line up. Oh, I'm going to be cutting that end off, so actually that's not going to line up with the stud. But I might be able to get away with this guy on the outside. It sounds like there might be a stud right there. And I might be able to get away with going in at a slight angle to hit that stud, just kind of go in like that. As long as this lays the head, I found some nails in my kit, but you can go buy these. You want to get a big head on it and a small nail circumference, so it actually goes in the hole and then lays flat in there. Because it's going to lay flat, it's not going to make the mirror so it pushes the mirror out and doesn't fit inside the channel edge. Let me just show you this real quick too. You can see how that is. This is like I think they call it a J channel. Let me show you what it is real quick so you can look it up. J mold. This is Glacier Bay 72-inch J mold. This they'll have in the store. Most of the time they'll have one or two in the store. They're kind of hard to find. But then I got a hammer, and I've also got a little punch. And the reason I got this punch is I might have to get in here once you want to drive the nails in, and you get them down to, it's going to countersink them all the way down in there. Without the hammer, with a bigger head, hitting this track and damaging the outside of it, and giving it a bump or a look, I'll just get this on there and tap it in real nice and easy so I don't damage the look of this, because the part that's going to show on this once the mirror goes in there is this front little edge right here. And you don't want a big dink into that because you want it to look good, right? So, and then I got some drill bits here so I can find the size that will allow the actual width of the butterfly, spring-loaded butterfly piece in there to expand. You want to find the right drill size. So I'll start with a small one, move up to a big one. And then when you put the butterfly hinge in there, what happens is you squeeze it together, it goes into the wall and then comes back out, and then it won't come back out of the sheetrock. And what you do is you pull it with your fingers like this and screw it, and it'll pull the screw all the way in to where it's almost up against the wall, and then it's tight enough that you could just screw it on with a regular screw gun, which I got right here. So that's the tools and the pieces that we're going to use for this job. So let's jump ahead and take a look at mounting it up there. I'm going to start by cutting this J channel down to the right size. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got the trusty tape measure here, and I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to put it up against the wall over there and snug it up. And you can see there's a little thing in there, so it's not going to quite go all the way. So right here, you can see my measurement down on this end is a little shy of 60 inches. You can see it's just short of 59 3/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 59 3/4, this J channel right here. And one of the things I want to do is, since this is the front, I'm going to make sure and make my cut down there to 59 3/4 inches. So the smooth beveled factory cut side is on the outside where you'll see it, and not over there. That'll be against the wall, so you'll never see it. We got a nice clean cutout here. One of the other tools you really need is a pencil, and I happen to have a red one, which is a little bit better for marking on metal. Then it's more of a grease pencil, so that it sticks a little bit better. And then, of course, the tape measure. So I took my tape measure and my pencil. I measured the 59 3/4 inches out on the J channel, but I made sure and did it on the left-hand side. As you can see, we're on the left-hand side, which will be the inside corner. And then you can see where I made my marks here. Where are they? Right there on the back and right there on the top. And that's 59 3/4. And I double checked it by doing it twice. And I'm going to take the hacksaw right here, and I'm going to hacksaw it up. Let's see about this. So I'm drawing back towards myself, away from the teeth are going kind of backwards, so it's not grabbing, in order to start a slit to be in. And I'll show you that in just a second. Do about 4 drawbacks. That's 3, 4. I'm going to do a couple more here. 5 and 6. This has got a weird flap, but now as you can see, I've got a groove started. That's a guide groove. So now when I start going forward, it'll grab, but I've got something that it won't slip out of. So it's probably going to take a few to get it going. As you can see right there, now it's starting to really cut through. So we're going to jump ahead and cut this baby and then head back in to show you how to mount it. So that's about 30 seconds of cutting right there. You can see I kind of got through this side already, but I'm not through the front channel all the way yet. And it's getting low on the back, so I'm getting close. This blade is old, so I'm cutting a little crooked, but it shouldn't really matter because it'll be tucked in the corner. So there's the cut. It's not perfect, but I did it with a hand saw rather than like a automatic saw, like a Sawzall or something, because I wanted to make sure and do it really as precise as I could. And as you can see, it's not exact, but you could also polish this edge up with a piece of sandpaper or something like that if you wanted to, and that would help too. Now let's pick it up that I threw it on the ground and let's go inside. There it is, sitting on the edge there on the backsplash, up on the shelf, I guess you'd call it. And it worked out really good. I pretty much got it right to the edge. And now that I measured, the mirror is going to hang over just a little bit. But I'd rather have this on the edge than sticking out to the edge of the mirror. I'd rather have the mirror bottom exposed just a little bit. And the problem is this corner is done so poorly when they made this mobile home that it's all rounded there. What I've done is I've pushed really hard, and as you can see, I've pushed it into the wall slightly. That'll help me get it right to the edge there. But the mirror I won't be able to do that with, so the mirror is going to stick out just very slightly on the end, but that's okay. So let's mount this camera up and let's start nailing in some nails. All right, I decided to have it stick out just very, very slightly on the edge here, if at all. And it sounds like the stud is more over here, so I don't think this first nail is going to go into a stud, but what I'm going to do is just put this in place and tap her on. We'll see if I get a stud or not here. Nope, you can see it just went in there. So I'm just going to tap it in nice and easy. I don't need to use that thing. And that kind of holds a little bit. These littler nails here that I've got for the actual smaller holes, and I could drill these holes bigger, I might just do that, they have teeth on them. So they'll help grab the sheetrock a little bit. I think there's a stud right on this one. And I got to watch out for my sink here now too. So we'll get this started. See if I can hit into a stud here. Yep. Now this one I'm going to have to use the punch. If you don't have a punch, you can just go real nice and easy, take your time, and just do it slow. Because I'm still going to kind of take my time here. Because the punch bounces around quite a bit. But I really don't want to get near this sink, this faucet if I can help it. So it bounces around quite a bit. It'd be nice if it had I could turn it around. Why don't I turn this around and see how that works? Keep it just a little bit up. Nah, that doesn't help any either. So I'm going to go ahead and pound this guy in, and we'll do a few more and we'll show you the results. Got it on, but I ended up having to punch through on the non-hole areas in order to get these screws. That one lined up with a hole, but it was really hard to get to because of the faucet. You can see that took a while. And then these other ones lined up as well. But to get the ends locked, I had to punch through the actual metal, which was pretty easy considering it's a real soft aluminum. So that's it. Once the mirror gets on there, it'll push it down a little bit to seal it up, and we'll probably throw a bead of caulk on that in the end too to make it look kind of like, you know, sealed it up nice. But there is caulk already behind it along the wall, so that's good. Now we're going to just get the mirror in here so I can figure out where to put the 3 mounts up on top, and we'll go from there. All right, we heaved and hoed and we got it up to the top. Truly here is holding it in place. So I'm going to take one of these guys right here, and I know that there's a stud out there and I don't want a stud, so I'm just going to arbitrarily put this in a couple inches like that. So basically that's how it goes. It clips on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark a hole here to start with and get myself a spot that I like. That position, it's in from the mirror a little bit, it's kind of over the sink. So now I got to grab a tape measure, and I'm going to measure this so I can do the other side the same way. All right, I measured that, and it's pretty much exactly 3 inches, so I got really lucky on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put this thing dead center. I could have gone to the outside edge, but I'm just going to go, it doesn't have to be minute details, but just like within a, 1/4 inch and you'll never notice it. So basically I got that 3 inches in. I'm gonna mark that on the wall. That trusty red pencil. And I double check that that's 3 inches, and it is. So next one, I'm gonna have to line up the center. That's gonna take me a few minutes, but basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, well, no, it should be pretty easy. I'll just go 30 inches to the center of the mirror by not pushing it against the wall down here, but by actually pulling against the mirror itself, which is about 1/4 inch off. I'm gonna take this guy, I'll hold that in place, and get my clip, put that up here, right in the center of that 30-inch mark. Push that down on top of the mirror, get that right there, and make my mark basically right there. So that's where I know my holes have got to be above the mirror, and that puts the clip right on top the mirror like this. So I come down on top of the mirror, push it up against the wall, and there's my hole. Same with over here. I'll double check that. Yep, that one's right. I'll check this. Yep, that one's right. It's up against the mirror, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the mirror back down, give Truly a break, and now we can drill the holes. Put the butterfly screws on. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm going to put the butterfly screws on now, which are this, which is the butterfly screw. As you can see, it flaps in. So you want to make sure that that comes back against the wall. So as you screw it in, you want to screw it down this way, not this way, but this way. So the butterfly hinges upwards. But what we're going to do is we're going to thread it through these. And you want to make sure that that's in the right position right there. And then you put the bolt through so it'll sit like that once it's in the wall. Then you take your butterfly screw right here and you hand screw it on there till it comes out the other side. And I'll just speed it up a little bit, and I'll get it not too far though, because you want it to be able to go through the sheetrock when it's folded. So you want to have enough room in between the actual clip and the folding of the butterfly. So once it goes in there, boing, it's open now. And then what I'll do to screw it in is I'm going to pull it this way with my hand, pushing this all the way to the wall, and I'll screw it from here, and it will draw this butterfly hinge. I'll be pulling the butterfly hinge up against the sheetrock so it can't spin on the inside, and then I can screw this and it'll suck it in as the screw goes in. It'll keep pulling that closer until it gets close enough that even without me pulling on it, this is pinned against the wall and we're good to go. So we're going to get up there and do that now. All right, we're going to drill our 3 holes. I'll just show you the first one. Basically, I'm going to line up with that red dot, and I'm going to drill a pilot hole. So that's a smaller hole. Now I'm going to have to go to a bigger one when I get into the next thing, but let me drill these other holes. Okay, now I took one of the butterfly heads here, and that's the width, and I found it's close, and I'm not going to go any wider than that because I don't want to be wider than the actual thing itself, the actual clip itself that's going to be exposed. I don't want the hole to show up in the background, so what I'm going to do is once I get this drilled, I'm going to kind of punch it through, tap it through with a hammer and get it in there, and that's the minimal hole you can do, but you're almost wide enough so it'll just push the sheetrock out of the way pretty easily. Oops, I wanted to show you this drill. So I'm going to take my pilot hole, put it right in the middle, and just go ahead and drill a hole there. It's pretty simple like that. I'm going to clean it up slightly, very carefully here. Well, no, I'm going to push it in instead so I don't rip this really crappy wallpaper. Then I'll go back in again. And that's about it right there. That way the wallpaper isn't ripped on the outside. Let me do these other 2 holes and we'll put one in. Got my 3 holes drilled, so now I'm going to take this unit, line it up. I'm going to take the butterfly hinge. I hope you can see that. So I'm going to take this whole unit here. You can see how it's lined up to go right on there. I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to kind of shove it in the hole slightly, and then just kind of tap it in there. A little harder than I thought. I've done this before and it's been easier. So there we go. Now I'm just going to push it in, and the butterfly is now expanded. As you can see, I can't pull it out. So let's go ahead and screw that into place. Let me grab the screw gun and switch back over to my Phillips head bit. I'm going to pull this out with my fingers to hold it in place. And that way the butterfly is up against the sheetrock and it'll suck itself in. As you can see, as I get closer, I need to move my hand over a little bit. And right now, I'm close enough so you can see I kind of held it there. I wasn't pulling that hard. You just got to keep the butterfly expansion unit in the back up against the back side of the sheetrock so it doesn't spin inside there. Now that it's here, I'll put my finger over this end of it, and I'm just going to screw it in a little bit. And I don't even need a screwdriver for this because that's grabbing pretty tight, but I don't want to over tight it because I don't want to wreck the sheetrock or anything like that. Now, once I get the other ones in, I might go back with a hand screwdriver and tighten it a little bit more because you can feel the tightness. Never use a screw gun to do your final tightening on a screw because you might end up stripping out and damaging the bolt head itself, the Phillips head itself, and make it look bad because it's marred. But as you can see, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and lay these other ones in and see how that goes. All right, so I got them all in there now. What I've done is I made sure and moved the bracket over so it was centered with the screw head, because the hole behind it, the hole that's actually in the bracket, can make it so it's offset and the screw head looks like it's off center. And then I kind of push this just slightly over to make sure it's straight up and down. Then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up by hand, and it's already really good. So I'll just do a half a turn. Actually, I'm going to back that. Well, no, I'll just leave it there. That's not bad. So that's one. And then this guy, I got to straighten out slightly here. Oh, I might have to loosen this up first. So what you got to do is maybe just loosen the screw very slightly, push that into place. Make sure this screw head is over far enough to cover the hole that's behind it, but keeping the screw head pretty much in the center of the actual bracket. Make sure the bracket's straight up and down, and then go ahead and tighten it back up by hand. And oh, that got tight really quick, so that's not bad. Plus, I'm putting the crosshairs of the screw that's right here up and down or left to right, so it's a nice even circumference. And I'm going to do this last one here. This one's already really good. It's dead center. It's lined up. It's straight. The bracket is straight up and down. It's not crooked like this or like that. And that's also very nice and tight. So I'll just do a 3/4 turn, line up the screw heads so the crosshairs are up and down, left and right. So it's symmetrical and it looks good. And there you go. Let me just move the camera over and take a look at the final product. Except for cleaning it, we are done. So there you go. That's the final product. You've got, this came out really good. I thought the mirror would be sticking out a little bit farther, but it doesn't. And when I was pounding the nails in, it happened to suck it back in a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. So it's not exact, but that's pretty close. You'll never notice that with the naked eye. There's other stuff in this room that's worse that we can't really cover up with that. But as you can see, there's the mounts on top. 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, I got the cross hatching going. It looks like I put this one up and down. I'm going to go ahead and adjust that one after this video so they're all equal. And it's you see, you got it right up against the wall as best I could over here. And there's that's where I cut it with the hacksaw, so it's not perfect, but again, that's way over in the corner. You'll never see it. And it actually snugged up to the wall a little bit better than I thought it was gonna. So hope you guys like this video. That's a quick shot of how to hang a mirror. By the way, I put that mirror up there by myself. What I did is I got up and kneeled on the counter, and when the track was in place, and I grabbed it from the top with my hands, like kind of like a vice grip, as best I could, and just kind of lifted it up and over the top of the two faucets, and it barely made it without hitting the light. It was kind of a very tight squeeze, but grabbed it really tight up there and just kind of lifted it up and over and slid it right down into that track, and then pushed it against the wall. Then Truly was over here to help push it a little bit and then hold it in place while I got the rest of this stuff going. So it's good to have a second person so you can hold it up against the wall. But if you wanted to measure, you could get your clips up there ahead of time and then not have to have a second person help you hold it. You just have to measure from the bottom of the track up to where your hole is going to be, making sure that you're 36 inches up, and then measure the distance from the clip where the clip comes outwards and up to the center of that hole, which is probably about like a 1/4 inch, maybe almost a 1/2 inch, and that was it. But hey, if you like our videos, please hit that like and subscribe. Hang a different type of mirror, push this button right there. We got another video on that. If you want to check out our channel with over 1,000 videos of different stuff like this, and travel logs and machines at work and animals and all kinds of fun stuff, check it out. We really appreciate you guys watching, and have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.